Since we've both had kids, we haven't had a project together.
No, so it's the first time we've had a project together.
There's nothing better than working a project with your friend.
Yeah.
And someone you've climbed with for a long time.
Helen side. Yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to get on a rock climb with one of your best friends and to be able to work out beta and sequences together. I think Amanda and I, we used to do that heaps back in the day, but you know, over the years we've had kids and work, life balance.
And you sort of run through all the routes that you've both done, and then getting in sync with the same projects at the same areas can be really tricky.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It's a good moment to be able to get on something together and work sequences. It's something I love doing with my climbing partners.
So exciting to be on new ground. Like just new rock, hadn't seen anyone on it, there was no chalk on it, a bit mossy, needed cleaning up.
Yeah, I've been looking at that climb for a long time. I'm like, one day I should go up there and see what that is. Yeah, it looks a bit mossy, and it's cool when you can kind of venture out and have a look.
Pretty funny getting on it for the first time and thinking, we were just having a lap day at Shipley and running through the sort of classic 23s and 24s, and then looking over and thinking, that's a 25 we've never been on, let's get on that. Yep. And then pulling on and thinking, it feels a little bit harder than 25. Still really doable, but harder. Turned out it was a 27. I think 27's a grade that is well within Helen and I, and a grade that we feel like we can do pretty quickly. But you've also got to give it enough respect to be warmed up enough, have your fingers recruited enough, remember your sequence.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, actually there's quite a lot of finger power involved in that. It's quite continuous.
A funny balance of who goes first, because if the first person red points, there's a lot more pressure on the second person. But then as the first person, you don't want to stuff it up, because then you might have to go again, and do you want to go again?
Yeah.
Lots of head games going on.
Yeah, totally.
I guess in recent times I've found life has been more complicated, and it's been harder to find that headspace, like really hard to get just into any flow state or any clear mind when you're climbing. And so it was about being on the slab and just trying to enjoy the climbing rather than thinking, get in the zone, get in the right headspace, am I in flow state yet? And I think just concentrating on each move worked really well. Got up to the rest, below the roof, and felt a bit pumped. And then you've got that moment where you think, okay, I've got enough back in my arms now that I need to go. And then I started getting nervous. Definitely didn't execute all the moves perfectly. Like, wasn't quite sure exactly where I wanted my fingers on the holds. You know, the sequences weren't perfectly refined. But got through the first sort of tricky section and then found enough of a rest to get my head together and to stop my legs shaking because I was nervous. And then there's one last punch at the end and you're just thinking, don't drop it, please don't drop it. my god, I can't believe I ticked something. Yay! Rad. Helen next.
And then I go up and then I break a hold.
What happened? Rock broke.
So then I go back up, I've got my new shoes on, so I'm like gum booting around. Oh my god, can you edit that with that? And then I'm like, okay, yeah, and then I'm getting up to the top and I felt really not good. I just didn't feel great.
Nice, Helen. Keep breathing, come on. You got it, come on. Awesome. Come on. Good job, come on. Awesome. Good job, Helen. Keep moving, come on. Get those feet. Come on, trust it, move those feet. Come on, you've got it. Come on, it's good. Awesome. Awesome, now you can relax a bit. Good job. Nice, Helen. Good job.
It's starting to compare. I'm like, Amanda looked really close to the wall. I'm like, I felt like my butt was hanging. I'm like, rest. I'm getting pumped and I just couldn't recover enough. And I'm like, what if I go for the next bit and my hands just don't work. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then managed to just use my feet properly and then do that sequence. And then I'm like, okay, now you got to go.
Got it, come on. Good, come on. Yes, come on.
Hit the top and then I was like, okay, you cannot fall now or else Amanda can take me off belay.
I wanted to just be next to you yelling, you can do this!
So for me, it was definitely not a flowing moment at all. And the whole way up was really fighting against my mind.
Nice, come on.
Oh my god! That was like, I felt so bad. Oh my god. And then I was like, I did it and I was like, don't you fuck this up. And I was like, kind of picturing myself going, ah!
It was impressive to see after breaking the hold, coming back down to the ground, having new shoes on, obviously not having your head in the right space,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
good.
pulling it off.
Thanks.
It was really cool to see.
Yeah, fist pump.
Even had a little tear. It was just a cool experience to have with your friend.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
very fun.
Yeah, go COVID.